It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello, and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy, and happy Easter, everybody. Not as big of dramatic decorations like I normally do, like at the old place, but I got a little bit of Easter egg race there, a little turn, my pinks and fuchsia, and all ready for Easter. So, what should we make for Easter? Well, hello, Callie. Callie up there too. There's only so many ways to make a ham. We've done ham so many times. Oh, it's unreal. Very simple to do. When you put your ham in, you could just take and score it, crisscross, and a clove in each little intersection of the cuts. And then what I like to do is take and pack brown sugar all around it. You don't have to go real thick, just lightly pack it. And then I always pour a jar of apricot jam over the top of that. And then just make sure you have like about 2 inches of water in the bottom of your roaster, and then cover it with foil or the lid, put it in the oven. And the important thing when making your ham is you want to make sure your temperature is at 165 degrees, 165. And then it's done. The problem with everybody having, or a lot of people, having dry ham, you go, oh, the ham's all dry. It's overcooked. You baked way too long. And be careful on those spiral hams because they're pre-cut spirally. That ham with spiral cut is like paper thin. Those slices are really, really thin. So the heat's going to dry those out so fast. I hate those hams because they just dry. Boom, they dry out so fast. Constantly based, they're just a pain. I just don't like them. I like the old-fashioned ham with the big old fat on it. That's the kind to do. Because that fat, with the fat side up as you're baking, the fat grease will come down into your ham and make it nice and juicy. But remember, 165 and you can pull that out. So what are we going to do for Easter this year? Well, I'm going to take and do a couple of things. One, we're going to take and make breakfast brunch. So we're going to take our Easter brunch, and I'm going to make some sausage and sweet potato muffins. Well, that sound good. Gee, I wonder where we have some sweet potatoes. As you recall, the last episode I made, we did a lot of baby food. And so I think I have some sweet potatoes already pureed and ready to go for my dish. I don't have to do anything with those. But it's a great way to use your leftover sweet potatoes if you had them from dinner the night before or whatever, Usually those don't stick around as being leftovers, but if you happen to have some, that's fine. So this is going to be a savory breakfast treat. And, of course, have your oven heated up, preheating at 350. And we're going to take and do dry ingredients first. So for this we need a 3/4 cup of sugar. Now, I suppose if you wanted to, you could do Splenda and have this, sugar-free. It does call for maple syrup. You can use sugar-free maple syrup if you want to make it totally sugar-free. Or if you don't have sugar-free syrup, you can use regular syrup, whatever. At least you would be reduced sugar or a low sugar recipe. But I'm doing the whole shebang. Easter, I'm going to splurge. But if you are very careful with your sugar intake, you can substitute the Splenda for this. So anyway, we need 3/4 cup of sugar. And I'm just leveling that off on the inside there. Along with 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And again, as always, level off your ingredients. Because like I said, it is so true, you just don't realize the slightest amount extra can really dry out your product, make it, more tougher. So we need a half and a quarter. And then along with this, we're going to need a half a cup of oatmeal. And you want the rolled oats, the big kind, not the instant, because this is going to give it a more of a texture to it, whereas the instant will take and dissolve and bind everything together and make it more firmer. It's not going to be bad, but you're just not going to get the texture that you're looking for. 1.5 teaspoons of allspice. And I put this right in here. There's one. And I just take and level off on the inside of my jar. And then along with this, we need a half a teaspoon of the kosher salt. Half a teaspoon of that. Because it's true, like I always say, spoonful per spoonful. Kosher salt has less sodium in it because it's shaved when they make it rather than being granulated. So there's less in there, so it's less salt. Half teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of baking soda. I have powder. You need a half teaspoon of baking soda. And the other tip too, now you all know this, is if you haven't used your soda or baking powder in a long time, to mix it up so that you have an active product. Okay, and then we'll just take the dry ingredients and just whisk these together. I just use a little wire whisk. It helps to break up your ingredients, so like if you have the soda, baking powder, whatever you have in there, breaks up the lumps of your flour and sugar, and it makes everything more evenly distributed, so that you don't, end up with, when you bite into a cookie or something like that, you get that chunk of baking soda once in a while. Well, that's why. I remember Mom used to do this all the time when we were kids. Oh, you bite into a cookie, a chunk of baking soda. Oh, I hated that. So, speaking of which, as of the taping of the show, today's my mom's birthday, 85. Ho-ho! Let's get done talking to her, and she got her birthday card right on today. I timed it just perfectly, so I scored good on that. Okay, now we'll put this aside. And in a separate bowl, we're going to be doing our liquid ingredients. And for this, we need 1 cup of our sweet potatoes. And as you can tell, this is the leftover sweet potatoes that I had from making baby food. So this is all ready to go. I'll squeeze out a little bit here. I just need a cup. There we go. 1 cup. And we're also going to need 2 eggs in this. And let's see, now I was talking about the syrup. We're going to need a 1/4 cup of, you can use the maple syrup, or you can use your sugar-free syrup, whatever. This is just to help give it the flavor. And that's going to be better than maple syrup along with the sweet potato. That's going to be really tasty. And mixed in with sausage too. Remember how you eat breakfast sausage with your pancakes or French toast? You always mixed it in the sausage links. You always rubbed it into the syrup before eating it. And then we're also going to need a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Ooh, nope, new container. And the oil is going to really help to make your muffins nice and moist. I learned that too with making cakes and stuff. If you use oil, it really makes them moister, much moister. And what else we need? Oh, I got it right here. Quarter cup of melted butter. And that's it for our wet ingredients. And then we can just mix this all together. Now this is making muffins. It's the category in your cookbook, it'd be called quick bread. As with all quick breads, including like banana breads, muffins, scones, pancakes, etc., you don't want to use your mixer. You want to use a whisk, a spoon, wooden spoon, spatula, whatever, because you don't want to over-activate your gluten when you mix in your dry ingredients, and that'll make them really tough and rubbery. So we don't want to do that when we're mixing all ingredients. So for any type of quick bread recipe, that category, just mix by hand. You only get a few quick, swipes. Now we'll take and add our dry ingredients to the wet. And then we'll just mix this in together. And you just want to mix it until all your dry ingredients are blended in and moistened. Now you don't want to blend it in until smooth. And if you have a few little lumps or streaks of dry in there, that's perfectly fine, see? That's just doing good. And we're all done. Mixing that up. So now we can take and put this. Did I do the course of salt? Yeah, we did. Okay. We're gonna take and put these into our muffin cups. Now you can use paper liners if you want to. You don't have to. If you don't, then you want to spray the pan with your spray. If you use paper liners, you want to take and still use your spray and just do a little shot in each one. And that really helps. I do this on cupcakes too. Helps with after you bake your muffin, cupcake, etc. The paper comes off. It doesn't all stick and rip the muffin to pieces or the cupcake. Now we'll just take and fill these up. And it's going to be about 3/4 full. So about 3/4 of the way. And you can use an ice cream scoop if you have one. That makes it a little easier. Usually it's like about a third scoop, third cup. And we'll put these in and then put them in our oven at 350 degrees for approximately 20 to 25 minutes. I forgot an important thing. I forgot the sausage. The main ingredient. Oh well, let me put these out. I got 1 pound of cooked sausage. And just drain that off the fat too. Back up just a second here. I can mix this in. So between the oil and the sausage, this is going to be really moist muffins. Now we can take and put this back in. And I'm going to use my 1/4 cup because that was a little bit bigger. And put that right in, and that fills out just perfectly. Ooh, it works out just nice. So you're making accents and learn something new. Like I said, I got all my stuff still in storage, and I got an ice cream scooper that I always use. It's a 1/3 cup scoop. And it makes it just perfect serving for all my muffins and cupcakes. I don't have that with me. Still in storage. When will I get it out? I have no idea. I don't have room here, that's for sure. So, anyway, put these, build these all up, and I'll put these in the 350-degree oven for approximately 20 to 25 minutes, or till you stick a toothpick in the center and they come out clean. So, let me put these together and then we'll be right back. Okay, now we can go on to our next recipe, and this is going to be a creamy rotini pasta with walnuts. And this is going to be an excellent little side dish to your main dinner. Wonderful. It's not macaroni and cheese, it's a creamier one. So you'll see when we mix it. But what we're going to do is get my water boiling here. And you want to have 3 cups of uncooked pasta. Now you can use penne or you want or elbow, whatever. I just happen to have rotini. And bring this to a boil, and we're going to cook this for 10 minutes. So while that's cooking, I can take in I'm a big saute pan, so I'm going to use just my Dutch oven. Rather than my, a deeper saute pan is what works better. Insert. And in this here, then we're going to take and put in just a, let's see, I want to do just a titch of oil, not a lot, a titch, because then we're going to take and saute up a small onion. And we're just going to take and cook that off until the onion is tender. Let's see, there's anything going here. Water is just about ready to boil. Yep, starting to boil. Put in our pasta. Now, when you're cooking your pasta, they say, how do you keep it from sticking? Pour in the oil and blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do anything. I mean, you do, but you don't have to put anything in there. You don't even need to salt it. Put in your pasta. The secret is to stir it. Hello? What do you think it sticks? Because you don't stir it. You want to stir it, 5 or 6 times during that first minute. Just don't let it sit there. So every time you go by, give it a little stir. And then, every so often, just give it a stir. So you don't need to take and put oil in there to keep them from sticking. So it won't stick if you stir it. You don't have to sit there and stir it constantly. Just, every so often, give it a stir. Okay, I want to just put it down a little bit. I don't want to burn those. Let's give us a little stir. And I'll keep it from sticking. I need just a titch more oil. You just want enough to coat it, enough to make it moist. We don't want to dry it out and burn the onions. We don't want it dry, but we don't need it greasy either. So, just enough to keep it moist. I'll show you. See? Just enough moist. And you want to cook these off until they're just about translucent, a little soft. Okay, then, let's see, and that's ready. This, and that, boom, boom, boom. And my kosher salt. Got that going. And you can feel it right away that it's going to start sticking if you don't stir it. And when you go to stir, you'll feel it with your spoon. It's like, it'll stick there, it'll stick there. See? Just got to stir it, and you'll be fine. And the same with any pasta, spaghetti, noodles, everything. I never had a problem once I learned that. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, don't it? Stir your pasta, it's not going to stick. Hello. You can't just let it sit there for 10 minutes and, oh, what did all come on, big lump. Some things are just common sense if you think about it. Okay, that's sauteed. Now I'll put in 3/4 cup of the nuts. And we're going to do about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. Put it down in there we go. And then along with this we need a 1/2 teaspoon of the kosher salt. Kosher salt. One of my favorite lines. Came across that on YouTube or something, Facebook, someplace, and they said, "What is your catchphrase that people know you by?" And I'm always like, "Kosher salt." Everybody knows me for saying that all the time. And then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of the crushed red pepper flakes, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And to get ready, check that. This is going to be heavy cream. And we want to shake it just so it's all mixed up so that when you pour it out, you don't have a big clump of fat on top. And so then we're just going to heat this up for approximately about a minute. What we want is the heat to take and open up the spices to make it breathe. You would get the flavor more, opens up the nuts. When the nuts are heated, it brings out the oils and the flavor. And you don't need to cook it up, fry it up completely. But any of your spices that whenever you're cooking, if you can heat those up first before adding your liquids to it, like in soups or whatever, it's going to bring out the flavor of the spice much more. The heat brings out the oils and you get more flavor. Okay, now we're going to put in our cup of heavy cream, and then we're just going to bring this to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, then we're going to take and turn it down and let it simmer for approximately 4 to 6 minutes. There's a little 2-minute window there, but because temperatures are different and everything. As bring it to a boil, then we down to a low simmer, and you want to reduce it until it's slightly thickened. You don't want a thick bechamel sauce, a white sauce. You don't want a big thick one. You want it just slightly thicker than what it is now. Just slightly thicker. Because when you add your pasta to it, the starch from the pasta is going to thicken it up more too. So you don't want heavy, thick. Well, we don't want the mac and cheese type of thickness of the cream cheese. We don't want that thick or creamy. We want more of a liquidy, creamy, but slightly thick. Does that make sense? You'll see. So we'll just let this boil and reduce, and then we'll be right back. Okay, now our pasta's done. And we're going to take and just slightly drain it off, leave a little bit of water in there. So that's in case your sauce gets too thick. And now we have a nice creamy consistency. Hey. Hang on to this. See? Nice consistency here. You can see how it is. It's not thick, but it's not thin soupy either. Then we'll just take and put our pasta into the sauce, and we'll stir this together. Ooh. And we'll take and add approximately a tablespoon of fresh parsley. And we'll just take and rough chop this up. Ooh. There we go. And let's put that right into our sauce, to our pasta. Blend that together. And we'll put that in our serving bowl. And if you want to, which I don't because you know I don't drink, but you can take in that sauce, which is really good, is a tablespoon of brandy, and just let that slightly evaporate before you add the whole cream to it, the heavy cream. And that'll give you a wonderful, wonderful accentuate the sauce and just give it a nice, wonderful flavor. So we'll just get a little super close-up of this. And then here's our creamy rotini pasta with walnuts, and our sausage and sweet potato muffins for breakfast brunch. So hope you enjoy these Easter treats for your Easter this year. And so I like to say, eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine. And bye-bye.